You know that moment that breaks your heart, but somehow also makes you believe there's still hope out there? Well, sit tight, because I'm about to share a story that changed the way I see the world. It's about a little pup named Thor, a tiny soul who faced the worst kind of abandonment, but never, not for a second, stopped believing. Ready? It was a gray morning, one of those where even the sky feels like it's crying with you. A light drizzle soaked the streets of a sleepy Aussie town. In a dirty alley behind a supermarket, a shiny black car pulled up. Inside, a man in an expensive suit, cold eyes that gave you chills. In the back seat, a trembling puppy. He was so small, his fur pale, and his big brown eyes seemed to beg, "Please, help me." But the man didn't even glance at him properly. He opened the door, picked up the pup like he was some filthy old rag, and tossed him into a torn cardboard box, surrounded by stinking rubbish. "Dogs don't suit people like me," he muttered coldly. He threw some scraps of food in, like a slap in the face, got back in his car, and drove off. The engine's growl faded away, and there he was, all alone, scared, not understanding why the world had turned its back on him. Can you imagine how that felt? Ever felt that hollow ache of being left behind? His name was Thor, though he didn't know it yet. For 3 long days and nights, he stayed in that alley. The rubbish piled up, the sour stench filled the air, and rats ran so close it made him shake even more. People walked by, a delivery guy in a hurry, an old lady with shopping bags, teens laughing loudly. Some glanced his way, but quickly looked away. Why didn't anyone stop? Thor didn't bark, didn't cry loudly. He just stayed there, curled up, frail, barely hanging on. But those eyes, my God, those eyes were screaming for help. They still had a spark in them, one that not even hunger, cold, or fear could dim. You know that feeling, when you hold on to hope, even when you've hit rock bottom. That's what Thor was doing, even if he didn't know it. On the 4th day, everything changed. A young woman named Clara walked by the alley. She was 22, had a red scarf fluttering in the wind, and sad eyes that held fresh grief. Her mum, who meant everything to her, had passed away just months earlier. Clara was still trying to piece herself back together. She was studying to be a vet, but that day, she just wanted to get home. Then something stopped her. A soft sound, barely a whimper, came from the bin. Curious, she stepped closer. When she opened the soggy cardboard box, there he was. Thor, a pup so thin you could count every rib, fur matted and filthy, eyes silently pleading, "Please don't leave me here." Her heart clenched. Without thinking twice, she pulled off her red scarf, wrapped his freezing little body, and whispered, "It's all right, little one. You're safe now." As her tears rolled down, something magical happened. 2 broken hearts began to heal. Ever looked at someone and just knew, deep down, that you had to help them? Clara took Thor back to her tiny flat. Photos of her mum on the walls, vet textbooks scattered everywhere, and the comforting smell of fresh coffee made the place feel like home. With the help of Pedro, a uni-mate, they gave Thor a warm bath, washing away the filth and fear. Every bite of food he took felt like a miracle. He looked at Clara with this deep, silent gratitude that words could never explain. But food and baths weren't enough. Thor carried wounds no one could see. At night, he'd curl up in corners, shaking in the dark, as if afraid someone might come throw him away again. Anytime he heard a man's voice, he'd shrink. And he'd only eat if Clara was near, like he feared the food would vanish. You know that quiet trauma some of us carry? Clara understood. She battled anxiety herself since losing her mum. Looking into Thor's eyes, she made a promise. "We're gonna get through this together." Months passed. Thor and Clara became inseparable. He slept by her feet. And when Clara had anxiety attacks, Thor would nestle into her chest, like he just knew what she needed. She taught Thor to trust again. Took him to the park, where he ran with such joy, it made strangers smile. People would stop and ask, "Who's this happy little guy?" They had no idea he'd once lived a nightmare. Thor even started joining Clara at her animal therapy classes. He was like magic. Autistic kids would light up just touching him. Lonely seniors would open up, telling stories as he lay across their laps. Thor wasn't just a dog. He was a healer. A light. Ever seen someone come back from rock bottom? That was Thor. Every single day. But the past has a way of showing up. One day, during a therapy session, a man walked in. Expensive suit. Eyes weighed down with sorrow. Clara didn't think much of him. But Thor froze. His fur bristled. A low growl rumbled from deep inside. Silence filled the room. Who was this man? His name was Augusto. Yes, that Augusto. The man who had dumped Thor like rubbish. He'd come seeking help for his daughter, Sophia, battling depression after a car accident left her in a wheelchair. When Augusto's eyes met Thor's, the air turned thick. Clara noticed the dog's reaction and asked, "Have you seen this dog before?" Augusto swallowed hard, lips trembling. What was he hiding? Suddenly he dropped to his knees, hands over his face. "I did something terrible," he confessed, voice shaking. The room went still. He told everything. How he was raised by a father who said emotions were weakness. How he lived for money, meetings, image. When a client gave him Thor, he saw him as nothing but a nuisance. So he threw him away. "I thought it was for the best," he sobbed. "But life broke me. My Sophia, she doesn't smile anymore. And now I see this dog, alive, strong, and I know I was a monster." Clara burned with anger. She wanted to scream. But when she looked at Thor, something stopped her. Thor stepped forward, slow, cautious, a quiet bark. Then he licked the man's hand. "Could you forgive someone who hurt you so deeply?" Augusto didn't ask to take Thor back. He knew Thor's home was with Clara, but he vowed to change. Started donating to animal shelters, not just money, but time. He showed up, cleaned cages, met the animals. Sophia met Thor during therapy. For the first time in months, she smiled, touched his fur, held his paw. You know how 1 second chance can change everything. That was it. Seeing all this, Clara had an idea. With support from donors moved by Thor's story, she opened a center for abandoned dogs, a place for second chances. Thor's journey went viral. Social campaigns, a book, even a documentary. He became a symbol of hope. At a packed fundraising event, Clara stepped on stage with Thor in her arms. The crowd cheered, tearful. She took a deep breath and said, "Thor isn't just a dog. He's proof that love beats everything. Abandonment, pain, even the worst in people. But there's something you all need to know." She paused. "The man who threw Thor away is here tonight, and he's not that man anymore." Augusto joined her on stage. He took the mic, voice steady but emotional. "I was the rubbish," he said, "not Thor. He taught me what it means to be human. So I'm asking you, never let an animal or person feel worthless. You can change a life. Do it today, not tomorrow." The room erupted. Thor barked joyfully, racing across the stage, celebrating his own victory. You know that moment when you just want to shout truth to the world? That was it. Today, Thor lives with Clara. His coat gleams in the sun. His brown eyes don't carry pain anymore. They shine with love, with peace. Clara's center has saved thousands of dogs and touched millions of hearts. Thor's story traveled the globe, proving that even those thrown away can become heroes. And you, what can you do today? Adopt, donate, share this story. Tell us how it touched you. Because stories like Thor's don't just change those who live them, they change the ones who choose to share them. Let's keep this love growing together. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. That way, YouTube will always let you know when I upload new videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.